is the hard work and passion.
Yeah, we're ready to go.
Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome. This is Beyond Take Two podcast, brought to you by Beyond Hollywood International Film Festival. I am your host, Madge.
And I'm your host, Veronica.
And today we have a special guest in the building. This woman is an actress extraordinaire. Mm-hmm. She has been on your favorite TV shows. Law and Order, SVU. Talking about This Is Us.
What?
The list goes on, and she has graciously allowed us to have her with us today to speak about her story and everything that she is doing in the entertainment industry. The talented, the beautiful Cyndi Melendez.
Yes.
Building.
I was just taking that in.
She was embracing that moment.
I was like, I want to be introduced forever.
How you doing today?
I'm good.
You're so beautiful.
Oh
my God, you're so cute.
You guys need to get a room. Hold on. What's going on here?
Because the shoes.
So
I wore the
cute.
shoes.
It's the shoes.
You got to show the sneakers.
It is the shoes.
Got the Air Maxes
Some
today.
fresh Maxes.
Those are fresh.
This is first wear.
First wear. Oh,
I think I need those. I've never really been a big fan of Air Maxes, but these are fresh.
I love them because they're comfortable. They're stylish and they are comfortable.
I think the pair that I got were they were like my size, but I think they run a little small for my size.
These are 6.5, and I'm never 6.5.
Yeah.
I'll tell you at the end of the day.
So then they run
really
big.
fit.
That means they run big then. That means they run big, right?
I wore my thinnest socks so I could fit into these.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They're perfect on you though. I love them. Those are fresh. Andre, just kidding. So Cyndi, it's so good to see you.
Yeah, in person. As the young people say, IRL.
And
Really?
Yeah, IRL.
in real life.
In real life.
I've Googled a lot of these things because I'm a big speaking of popcorn, because I know that's your guys' thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I love popcorn.
I love that you watch our segment.
Oh, yeah. I'm also a big investigator. So I watched and listened to some of your episodes. I even have, oh my gosh, the one that lived in Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
That story went, it was interesting because you guys started with entertainment, blah, 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 blah. And everyone's like, oh, so grateful, that.
Yeah.
And then it got into the nitty gritty. And I was at the nail place oh my God. Every time.
It was crazy. And we didn't even know it was really going to go there.
Yeah.
Right.
Usually we'll talk beforehand or whatever. It was, just kind of shoot the shit a little bit.
Yeah.
So
and then he just went totally left.
I love hearing stuff like that. And then, on the internet, I love going in the comments. I don't comment.
Yeah.
But I like
going in the comments.
Yeah. I like reading.
You like peeping them.
I like seeing what people say. So
you're a comment stalker.
Yeah. So I see people talk about, the young people, they're like IRL and whatever. And I'm like, I got to Google it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I only know because I have seen it probably in the comment section. And then I'm like, what is this that the kids are saying?
I had no idea what that was. I feel so old.
Speaking of acronyms, you said the young people. How old are you? Because you look like you're 24.
23?
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to be 39 this year.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what is the magic? Cleansers, moisturizers, girl.
Thank you. Again, I'm just going to take that in. I'm trying to practice being present.
I love it.
Gonna take the compliment, because usually you go, no, stop.
She's like, I'm gonna embrace it.
Yeah. It only took me, almost 40 years.
Oh, you're gonna be 39, Cyndi?
Yeah, and I actually thought I was gonna be 39 last year. So all year.
Yeah, when you get there, it's like, you lose track.
Yeah, I lose track too. I forget my age.
I was like, it's the last year of my 30s. Wow, that's crazy. So I told my husband, I was like, I want to go to Mexico.
Do something big. Yeah.
I rented a house, and then I want to say maybe a month before I realized that I was in fact going to be 38. So That's what had.
Done.
That's what you
But
have.
hey, you got to celebrate you every year, so it doesn't matter.
Yes,
you got to go big.
True. I'm even thinking about doing a half birthday. So my birthday's in December.
Okay.
It's
December what?
It's December 8th.
Oh, I'm December 28th.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
you know a little bit of like when you're in between the holidays,
Yes.
nobody gives a damn about you.
No.
I mean, they do, but then there's something even bigger,
Right.
ugly sweater party.
Thanksgiving just
Yes.
came. Christmas about to
Thanksgiving.
come.
Friendsgiving.
People try to Friendsgiving, and now
Nobody gives a
COVID.
fuck.
So you're really like, I've tried the last 2 years to have like a birthday thing, even just family, and it's
Yeah.
like COVID or whatever. So
Yeah.
I just started being like, you know what, I'm gonna go to Mexico for my birthday.
Yeah, like fuck everybody else.
So this year I'm like, why don't I just have a half birthday in the summer?
Yeah. Why not?
A half.
A half birthday. I love the idea.
You heard it here first.
Half birthday.
Only December babies.
Half birthday.
Only December. Yeah, you have to
Yeah,
have a
it
special,
only
special
makes sense
reason.
for December babies. 'Cause
Yes.
My birthday is in March. Like it wouldn't make sense if I had like a September half birthday.
True.
It just doesn't make
That
sense.
would be weird for
Yeah, it'd be weird.
Well, when I went to Mexico for my birthday for the first time, I was like, oh, this is how the other half lives.
What part of Mexico did you know what? Hold on. Before we get into all that, just came in here, just take over the show.
City is the shit.
We need to get ready for our buttered upset.
Oh yes.
Yes. We
They're
have
sending y'all for a game right now.
popcorn today. What do we have today, Veronica?
Oh, we have pretzel. God, what was it called? I think I threw it away.
You threw the. You gonna make me get up and?
It's gonna be in the show notes.
No, actually, no. I have it in my phone. I do. I took a picture of it. I did. I saved us. Okay, so what we have today is Gotta Be Sweet.
Gotta Be Sweet.
By Amy B. It's pretzel popcorn crunch.
Hey,
Yeah,
shout
and it's-
out to my beautiful wife for getting this popcorn. For
Oh, shout out to the wifey. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. I'm not gonna tell you the flavors because I want you to tell us the flavors.
Okay.
Wait. You gotta
Do the both
do both.
with the pretzel
You gotta do You gotta.
and one in the
So,
bite.
okay. Let's do it like this. Let's do it
So
like
gourmet.
this. Wait. Get two kernels by itself, and then get a kernel and a pretzel.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
So try the popcorn by itself first.
Okay. Caramel.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, you can look at it, see it's caramel. I don't know
Caramel,
why
what
she doesn't
else?
do that.
I thought I was like, it was like the jelly beans.
Oh,
like they're all
no.
different flavors.
You're
you know?
right. The popcorn is caramel.
Yeah, it's
and
just
then
caramel.
what about the pretzels?
Pretzels is what's that, yogurt on it?
Yeah, like a white chocolate yogurt.
Caucasian chocolate.
Yeah, with sprinkles.
Oh, it's white chocolate.
Yeah, white chocolate. Yeah.
What do you think about white chocolate?
I like white chocolate. I like white chocolate more than I like chocolate.
Really?
Honestly. Yes.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah. It's just
I'm a milk chocolate man myself.
I like chocolate, but I like white chocolate better.
As I've gotten older, again with the age here, but I like darker chocolate.
You like darker chocolate?
And I like dark chocolate too. It's healthier for us.
I feel like I don't know, maybe my taste buds are changing,
Evolving.
dying, evolving. I like.
We're getting old. Just kidding.
I mean, everyone.
Yeah. I'm
I
kidding.
don't know if you guys knew.
We're getting
Okay.
wiser.
Well, Cindy,
What do you rate it?
rate it. The popcorn by itself. What do you give it?
I give it 1 out of 10.
Yeah, 1 out of 10.
I'll give it a 6.
Give it a 6. All right. Popcorn and pretzel. What would you give it?
Diabetes. 10.
10?
Yeah.
10?
10.
Definitely
I mean,
diabetes.
the pretzel elevated it. You know, there's sprinkles, there's
It
chocolate.
was just a better taste.
Brings out the caramel. The caramel notes.
I'm gonna go with Cindy. The pretzel gets a 10. And the caramel popcorn,
The pretzel's carrying the caramel.
yeah. It was just way too sweet. So I'm gonna give that like a 3. I didn't like the caramel
You
popcorn.
thought the caramel was too sweet? I don't think it's
Way
sweet
too
enough.
sweet.
I don't think it's sweet enough.
Oh no.
I think they made it like that because you got the white chocolate.
Yes, maybe they held back.
They did hold back.
Probably.
I don't. The caramel by itself is like a 3 or 4. You could barely taste the caramel. Then together, I give it like a 7. The pretzel is really good.
Yeah, the pretzel's the best.
Pretzel's really good. But
Yeah. Thank you, Amy.
Yes, thank you.
thank you.
Delicious.
If you have some different flavors, please let us know.
Send it over.
But yeah, put some more. This caramel needs to be caramelling. You know what I'm saying? Like I know you got the shit. You know what I mean? So put it on there.
It's crazy.
Thank you though. Mm-hmm. Oh, Cyndi, you have been on everybody's favorite show.
That is, which one do you think is everybody's favorite?
Law and Order SVU.
For sure.
Oh, really? Not This Is Us?
No, SVU is like a classic.
I mean, yes. I mean, it's crazy to me now because I am, like I was saying, I'm an investigator. So that's just my nature. And I grew up watching that.
Law and Order.
So for me, and then also I lived on the East Coast for a year. So once I got that booking, I was like, amazing, I can go back to LA now and not feel like this town, beat me. I can have a little dignity leaving.
I hear that.
But This Is Us, people are crazy about that show. I mean,
I've
people
never seen it.
People, really?
I've never watched it either.
Look, I only watched it because I auditioned for it, so I kind of just wanted to know what the deal was with who my character worked for. But people love that show.
Yeah.
I need to watch it because just by seeing it, I was watching your reel.
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
high key, it's the show that I make the most residuals from.
Really?
So far that I
Yeah.
have so far.
Nice.
Yeah, because it, other whatever countries acquire it
Right,
and all
right,
that. So,
right.
and then
Now
reruns.
it's not on anymore, right? It only had
it just finished.
it just finished.
Yeah.
So how many seasons? It had like 5.
I want to say like 6 or something like
6
that.
seasons?
I was on the first one.
You was on the first season.
How many episodes?
I was on episode 13 and 15.
Okay, good to know. Okay.
So there was, very little to even watch at the time.
Right,
and it
right.
wasn't that I didn't realize that I was going to be on that was such a big show
Right.
at the time. Yeah. But I did. It was such an amazing experience to have. That was my first co-star.
Wow.
So, and then when I got the call for the second episode, I was like, oh my gosh. And then I went to the fitting and the ladies were like, oh, you're going to come back. Oh, everyone comes back on the show.
wow.
You're going to be back. And I was Sterling K. Brown's assistant.
Right.
So
Taylor, right?
I was like, oh my. I was like, is it possible on my first co-star? Like, I'm just going to be on this show on NBC. And then when I worked the second episode, I realized that he was going to have, sorry, spoiler alert, but that he was going to have a mental breakdown and quit said job where I was the assistant.
Oh wow.
And one of the other actors told me, the guy playing his boss.
Okay.
He was like, oh, well, he's gonna, we're not gonna be in the next episode. I was like, oh, okay. But he was so great to work with.
Oh,
He's so awesome. That co-star sort of spoiled me because then when I did my next co-star, I might as well have been like a chair on the set, It was I went to the high. Like
Yeah.
Sterling K. Brown, like he engages everyone. When you're not shooting, he's like shooting the shit with
brought
everyone.
you dinner and shit.
Yeah.
He had lunch with me and the guy that played his boss.
That's
Wow.
so sweet.
We were sitting at the tables and he came over and he sat with us.
Yeah.
He was really nice and told us stories about him and his wife in college. Ha ha he. Like,
Yeah.
it was so awesome. And then, like I said, boom, I'm a chair. And the next,
What was the next one?
it was an episode of Transparent, which was on.
I did see that.
Is on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
And I was like in a Alcoholics Anonymous scene.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I had and the director, I was so excited because I had watched some talks that she had done, and there was like a whole big like women's movement around the time. It was like 2016. And I was
Right.
like, oh my god, I'm gonna work with Jill Soloway. Like I thought me and her were gonna be buddies, Sterling and I.
Yeah.
So, but it was not like that. And then I read that she really likes to work with her main actors. Like she gives them all the time they need. So we were running overtime. I was supposed to be on like shooting at 11. and we didn't end up shooting our scene till the end of the day.
Wow.
So it was a great learning experience because it's like why you shouldn't eat a bunch of junk and you shouldn't really be, you shouldn't be like on your phone, like your energy.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
right.
and then, so it was just a completely different experience. I mean, I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
this is stop being fun
Right.
very quickly.
Right.
Crazy.
But look, you need them for your resume. They're great opportunities to be on set. Like I said, every now and then you get a little check that you didn't expect and it comes through. And so as far as with acting, some people are like, oh, I'm past guest stars. I don't want to do guest stars anymore. I'm going to tell my agent, I don't want to go on these little things. But you never know when they're going to turn into a recurring. Like you'll do more than one episode, even if it's still a small role.
Yeah.
I've had 2 co-stars do that. I was also on Bosch, and that turned into 3 episodes.
Nice.
So you really never know. And now because of the way that the business works is that they call something different so that they don't have to pay you. They call it a recurring co-star instead of it being a guest star because guest stars get a certain amount of money.
Right.
But the way that they sell it, oh, it's a meaty role. It can recur. It can come back. And I'm still gonna take it.
But it's still worth it.
Right.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. If you want to have insurance and you want to start putting money towards your pension, and again, it's just better not to say, I don't want to do these things. Like, stop trying to control.
Right.
Just let it
go
organically.
Yeah. You gotta
Yeah.
let it go.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
exciting.
can we take it back a little bit? How did you get into acting? Like, where are you from? How did you get into acting?
So I'm originally from Los Angeles.
LA, baby. Where you go to high school?
I went to El Camino, which is in Woodland Hills.
Nice.
You ain't know LA,
D-
baby.
D-
You was born rich. You ain't
I
know.
was no.
You're terrible.
I wish. I actually grew up in Koreatown.
Okay.
Nice.
And then my parents moved to North Hollywood when I was around 10.
Okay.
And then they sent me to junior high and high school in the rich area.
Interesting.
Nice.
So that's but my essence.
That's funny.
is
I lived in
K-Town.
North Hollywood around that time because I'm only like a year older than you.
Okay.
I lived on
I lived off of Lancashire.
I lived off of Lancashire and Victory.
I was off of Lancashire and Roscoe.
Oh.
And my first job was at the IHOP that was on Victory across the street from the Sears. You know what I'm talking about?
I think I do.
It's right off of
I think I
Victory.
do, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember when there was that? Are you from LA?
I'm from LA.
Okay. Do you remember when there was that Bank of America robbery? Remember, like the one in North Hollywood where there was like a shootout with the cops? And all that?
Yeah.
Okay, so the IHOP was like next block over.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, hey guys, I'm from Glendale, okay, not Koreatown.
Well,
Out of here.
yeah, that's LA County.
It's LA County.
I played
Yeah.
ball like off Victory Vineland Park.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Where that Target is right there. Yeah, right there. I used to play ball
Yeah.
there.
So I mean,
Nice. Nice.
not quite Woodland Hills.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, did spend junior high and high school there, and I actually went to school with a little entertainment trivia. I went to school with America Ferrera,
Oh wow.
and
Wow.
I forget his name. The guy that played McLovin in Superbad.
Superbad?
Yeah,
Which one is
can't
it?
remember
Okay,
his name.
McLovin.
he's like the kid that makes the
With the
fake
black
ID.
hair.
Yeah.
In the glasses.
Yeah.
He was on Pitch Perfect too, right?
Yeah, he's been in tons of stuff. Yeah, tons of stuff. So they both
Went to
went
school
to.
with him. Oh my god.
He's younger, and America is 1 year older than me.
Wow.
That's what's up.
The beauty of living in LA and going to school in LA.
In Woodland Hills.
In Woodland Hills.
In Woodland Hills. Yeah.
So how'd you get into
acting?
Yeah.
I was interested in it in high school when I was a kid. I was just telling my sister the story, and we were talking about America Ferrera because I'm like, see, America Ferrera, she went for her. She knew what she wanted.
Yeah.
You know? And I was talking about how, so in 10th grade, there was this group called like the Thespians. Literally, this is what they're called, the Thespians. And those were the people that like went and competed at festivals, and they it wasn't like the school plays were open to everybody. They were open to that group of people.
Really?
Interesting.
That's interesting.
So it
Yeah.
wasn't like in the movies where like the whole school can audition.
Right,
it was just
right.
the thespians.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm trying to be one of these thespians. So I was like, well, I want to join. And then I realized that there was a week of hazing from the thespians. Like they made you do all kinds of ridiculous
That is beautiful.
Wow, just to be part of the thespians
to be
group.
part of the thespians.
That's
But
awful.
and you know what? At the time, I was
It's a
like,
fraternity.
you guys, I was like, I'm trying to be popular. Right now. That's my main focus. That's what was driving me
Right.
as a teenager.
I mean, you're in high school.
I know it's kind of hard not to want to be popular, and the thespians they were not popular. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
I could
chose
see how that
The
Yes.
popularity
happened.
first.
Yeah, I could see
I
it.
chose the popular, and look at me now.
See, you sound like me though. That's like my story, and it's like when even like the drama club, you know, like the people that are in drama in high school, they were kind of a little different.
Yeah.
they're a little like weird, not weird. I don't want to say weird.
They were not. They
Different.
were. You know what? They were ahead of their time.
That's a good.
They were ahead
Well,
of their time.
It's funny because like I was part of the drama club when I was in high school.
Wow, man.
If you
Well, I mean, look, here we are.
I know.
well, no, it's like but the drama club at my school, it wasn't like weirdos. You know what I'm saying? Like it feels
What
like
school did you go to?
I went to Dorsey High School.
That's right, Dorsey.
I'm a home of the Dons.
Yeah.
But like you guys know Kiki Shepard that played on the Apollo.
Yes.
Her sister was my teacher.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so she comes from.
Yeah.
Got it.
And she was. I mean, she just like cracked the whip. She came, I think, my junior year, and that's when I started. Was like my junior year.
Nice.
But she just cracked the whip. She was cool as fuck. Like all the kids. I mean, the kids weren't popular kids, but they weren't like picked on or nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I went to my oldest son. He goes to a school, a very private, wealthy school,
Okay.
and he's on a production side. So he's in theater, but he does like all the props and stuff like that.
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
They did Bring It On a few weeks
cute.
ago, and I went, and
That's cool.
like I could see why like the kids weren't like popular. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
they're different. They're ahead of their time. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, because
They're
you're
ahead of their
already
time.
getting into doing something that you're passionate about.
Exactly.
Whereas other kids are not necessarily
Right.
because
Yeah.
you know people are still gonna if you want to be a lawyer like you'll
Right,
wait
right.
till college and then
Yes,
law
Exactly.
school when
yes,
you're
yes.
really
Exactly.
into what you're doing. You're not
Right.
thinking about it at 12, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You're not coming to school with like a briefcase.
Right,
Yeah.
Whereas
my son told me like some of the kids like they would be backstage, ooh, like doing their exercises.
Yeah.
and stuff.
They're already in it.
And I'm like, these like middle school, high school
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
He was like, man, they weird as hell, man.
Yeah.
Well, because it's like an affluent school, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have probably kids whose parents are in the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who already probably work with coaches
Right,
and
right.
stuff like that. Yeah.
That's true.
Because that's a whole other so back to the
Thespians.
how I got into I didn't become one of the thespians. I went on to just be popular. And when it came time to go to college, I started, and then at the time it was the boom of the real estate,
Okay.
so I was like, why am I gonna get loans to go to college when I could just get my real estate license and make money in 30 days or
So
whatever
cool.
it may be, right? So I did it backwards because most actors quit acting and then they become real estate agents.
Right.
It's like a go-to profession.
Yeah.
Right.
So I did that first, and then when the bubble burst,
So you got your real estate license.
yes,
Nice.
I worked in the mortgage industry for like 3 years.
You sell a lot of homes?
Well, I was on the mortgage side, and then I worked for a small mortgage banker. And at the time, everyone was trying to get a house. So,
Yeah.
my job was just in an office, like going over the 1003s and being like, you qualify for this with this bank.
Interesting.
Just
Okay.
like pricing, basically,
Right.
is what I was doing.
What year was this?
This was 2004. 5
Okay.
to like
Before the market crashed,
yes,
right?
just
Okay.
before. And then I
Right.
was really young. You know, I started
Yeah.
making a little bit of money.
Right.
I thought it was going to go on forever. I didn't
Yeah.
save. So, you know, when I lost my job, I was like, oh my God, it was like the worst thing that had happened to me at that point. And I was like, well, I've got nothing to lose now. So I think I'm just going to give acting a try, which is what I've always really wanted to do, you know, in the back of my mind. But, you know, I got distracted by
Gotta be
wanting
popular.
to be popular, wanting to have money,
Yeah,
you know, like.
How did you solidify
Yeah.
your popularity in high school? Like,
You know when you got the juice smashed.
I mean, but you say it like you wasn't popular first.
Well,
but
because I guess it kind of started with like I didn't go to when I went to junior high and high school. Everyone knew each other from elementary, right?
oh, okay.
So I was kind of coming like I didn't really know anyone,
yeah.
and I was going from like a little elementary school to like a big, huge middle school. So I always tell people, I'm like, it was like prison. Like you had to find a group of people that would protect you. You know what I mean? Like
I guess that's
it
why they
is
call
almost
it the school to prison pipeline.
yeah, maybe.
teachers, right?
But it's like, you know, kill or be killed, right?
Yeah, yeah. Killed or be killed. You better
You know, you had to
find
like,
that group
yeah, you had to become
where you're accepted.
get with someone,
Right.
get with a clique, right?
Or somebody to shank you, right?
Basically, you know.
Yeah.
And then also too, kids are. I'm so glad I'm not a teenager anymore. Like I look at teenagers now, I'm scared of them. I'm like, oh my God.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, they all
It's the
bark.
social media.
They'll bite.
And they all have this like, and look, obviously we did too. We said stuff like tight and you know
Right.
whatever, but they have all these like new words. I'm like, oh my God, I don't.
That was us back in the day. And for some reason, theirs just sound worse.
It does.
Like-
Yeah.
Like they use Riz now.
Oh yeah,
I'm like,
I
how do
read
you-
about that.
Like,
I
how
read
do
about
you
that.
even
Riz.
use that in a sentence? Ask your son what Riz is.
I think it's like, is it like pizzazz?
It's like game. It's short for charisma.
Oh, he's got
Like
game.
you got game. Like
He's got Riz.
you know what I'm saying.
Do
He
they
got
say like,
Riz.
oh, he rizzed her up?
I mean, pretty much. Like they'll say like
Like how we used to say he got game.
yeah. But they'll say something
He
like
got Riz.
like
Or
he's
what
like
is it?
he's like ridiculous or something like
Riz.
that.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, something like that. You know what I'm saying? They'll put it on like other words.
Oh wow.
It's terrible.
Kai said something the other day, and he was like talking about some guy. He was a little, you know, like he had some shorts on. You know how like the guys like in track, they run in the street
Yeah.
and like they're like, you know, wearing short shorts and stuff. And he said something about him, and he used a word. And I was like, when he said that word, I can't remember what the word is. I wish I knew. Can't remember. I mean, I didn't want to remember. That's probably why I don't remember right now. But he said it, and I'm like, Kai, that doesn't sound right. Like, it sounds like you're saying that you like what you see.
Oh, I see.
And he's like, no, all the kids say that all the time. And I looked it up, and I'm like, dude, you're saying that he looks like it's like calling someone fruity. Like he's a fruity or a fruitcake.
Oh, right.
So it was like another word that he used that he thought that's what he was saying. Like something like that, where he's kind of making fun of it. And I'm like, no, you're saying you like it.
Right.
Like you like what you see. Like he looks great. Like it was just a saying, and I was just like, Like these kids don't even know what they're saying anymore. They don't. And then you're copying other kids, and you don't even know what they're saying. You don't even know what it means.
And then meanwhile, we're the ones that aren't cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I had to put him in his place that day. It was so
insane.
so funny.
Do you have kids?
I don't.
Yeah,
no.
you do.
Well, I'm a dog mom.
A dog mommy.
Look,
But look, I didn't
Look,
say
look.
I have a son. I did not.
look.
She brought it up.
I'm glad you said
Yeah.
you had no kids.
Yeah.
Because I do not believe in animal parents. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have kids. You have animals.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? You
yes.
have pets.
For sure.
Right.
They're
For
not
sure.
your kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whoever says that,
You're gonna hurt people's feelings.
I don't care because I'm tired of it. I'm absolutely tired of it. This is like it burns in my soul.
So I mean, I will sometimes be out. Oh, I was at the dog park actually, and some
Yeah.
people do bring their kids to the dog park. But somebody had
They put them on a leash.
somebody had The kids or
Yeah,
the dogs?
the kids.
Oh, no. No, it's an off-leash park, so everyone.
Oh, okay.
It applies to
So you
humans.
Just run freely.
Run
And
freely.
animals.
What's
Be
it called?
about.
Cage free.
It's no, those are the eggs.
Those are the eggs.
Those are the eggs. And somebody had a stroller in there, so because I do see kids in there sometimes, I was like, is that a kid? Because my dog could very well put his, but you don't know.
Right.
Is it a dog or a kid in that stroller?
Right.
I don't
You
know.
never know anymore.
I don't know.
I seen a dog in a stroller the other day. I was just shaking my head.
Yeah, my dog is 80 pounds. He's not feeling in.
He's a big dog. He will protect you.
I could ride my dog.
What kind of dog is it?
I can ride my dog.
He's a pit bull,
He's
American bulldog, Staffordshire. That's about like 50%, and then the other is like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. He's a mutt,
He's a cool looking dog. I love your
but
dog.
he's a big boy.
Yeah.
Is he dangerous? Like, yo,
You know, I think that he looks dangerous,
but he's a sweetie.
but he's a sweetheart. Yeah,
okay.
but people do sometimes are like, people across the street,
Right.
like the little dogs get scared, but he's really sweet.
Do you like go outside and just like have him like on a chain and just stand there? And just
I just have a
stare at the
I have
neighborhood and
I have
shit?
like a special harness. Oh, I can't. We don't have our front gated, but I can't wait till
You're going to get it gated?
we gate. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're doing a lot of work around the house too, right?
Yeah. So like again with acting.
Yeah.
It's for us right now. We're trying to figure out this post-COVID stuff.
Right.
And then also, 3 years ago, I wasn't married. I didn't have a kid. I mean, a dog. See, you got me messed up now. Now you got me messed up. I didn't have a house.
Right.
I didn't live in the back. I didn't even have a car.
Yeah.
I didn't have a car 3 years ago. I didn't have a car for like 10 years.
How were you doing that?
By the grace.
You are a true
On the
LA
metro?
girl.
He was on the metro.
I was on everything.
That's cool.
So basically, when I did get into acting, like I said, I was broke AF.
Right.
And I managed to get an apartment right by the waiting job that I had. And then I did have a car that I was leasing at the time that the lease was up. And I'm like, well, I'm going to get rid of it now. I can walk to work.
Right.
And then when I got into an acting studio, I was able to walk to that. So I was like, I'm going to get a car when I need it.
right.
And then, once I started auditioning, I'd figure it out. I would write out like, okay, I have to wake up by this time, catch this bus by this time. And then
Wow.
sometimes I would have like 3 auditions in a day.
Oh damn.
One time I went from Culver City to Studio City. So I changed on the bus, got to my audition there, and then had to go back to that, like the West Side for another audition.
Wow.
So I had 3. I
Wow.
started on the West Side, went to the Valley, barely made it to the last thing.
Wow.
But
That's insane.
you know.
Grind acting.
So I
It's a
think
grind.
like what the not having a car taught me is just like you're gonna get there. And
Yeah.
people would tell me, but what if you book the job? How are you gonna get to the? And I'm like, I can't think about that right now.
Right.
I gotta literally just get to the bus stop.
When,
Yeah.
when it
Yeah.
comes, I'll
You'll figure it out. Exactly.
Yes. And you know what? It's so funny because a lot of times, I'd finagle getting a ride from another actor on set.
Yeah.
I'd be like, so where do you live? I'm like, oh, K-Town. Me too, right by the wheel turn. I've worked gigs. This one time I shot a commercial in Long Beach. So I took was it the Blue Line? That
Blue
goes down
line,
there?
yeah.
So I took the Blue Line down there. And one of the other actors was someone that I knew. And he happened to live in Hollywood. So
Nice.
I got a ride
So you
home.
just made
and
it work.
that was a night shoot. So had that not been the case, I would have sucked.
Yeah.
That would have sucked really bad.
Yeah, exactly.
But God is good. See how everything works. You know what I mean? In
I've
your
been
favor.
standing on the street outside of an audition, like on La Brea by the Target.
Yeah.
When I'd go to
I know
Allison
exactly where
Horn,
that is.
I'd be standing there, and someone would drive by that I knew, and they'd be like, "Hey, do you need a ride?" That happened to me twice.
Wow.
So
Wow. I love that.
that's what's up.
So
Yeah.
I like.
you was really on your grind then.
Yeah.
At that point.
Well, grinding.
So this
yeah.
is like
Grinding.
so this is like this is like 08, 09.
This
Like after the
was
crash.
once I was no, because I didn't audition right away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When did
like-
you start getting into it?
So what happened was that a girlfriend of mine that did insurance, she's like, hey, well, like you should get into selling insurance. That's what I do. I make okay money. So I'm like, all right. Still kind of like, I don't want to make less than a certain amount of money.
Right.
And then I realized, this is selling car insurance and it takes forever. You have to build your book. Like, you don't start making the money till people renew. And I'm like, I need money like right now.
Yeah.
So then I'm like working in the office in the meantime. And I'm like going on Craigslist and I found an audition on there. And I was like, it was like for MTV VJ that spoke Spanish.
Oh, nice.
I was like, I could do that. So I just send them some random pictures. And it turns out it was like an agent that put the thing on Craigslist.
Okay.
So she wasn't my agent. So she just sends me the address. I go to MTV in Santa Monica.
Okay.
Oh,
I've
wow.
like never even been on an audition ever in
Yeah.
life. I'm like lying to this job. I'm like, I had this doctor appointment. I gotta go. So I get there and the lady's like, all right, just give me like some, improv, like just talk about some music and, like you're a VJ. But it's all in Spanish. And I speak Spanish fluently, but I don't really listen to Spanish music. So I'm like, what? She's like, your agent didn't tell you? And I'm like, well, see, it's not really technically my agent. She goes, okay, just, do your best.
Yeah.
I just brought up like, I managed to think of 3 artists that I
Jenny
knew.
Rivera, I don't know.
I did even
Gloria
worse.
Estefan.
I did Jennifer Lopez. Like that's not even Latin music. I mean, yes, but no.
But it's not.
What about Elvis Crespo?
I said Jennifer Lopez, Maná, which is a Spanish rock group,
Okay, that's cool.
and
Gloria Estefan.
I didn't say Gloria
Gloria
Estefan, but I
Estefan's
said
good.
I don't even know what else I said, but whatever. I do it, and then I leave, and I'm like, oh my god, that was like the worst experience ever. I'm driving on the 405. I'm just like playing it over in my head, And then I get a call from them, and they're like, hey, we want you to come back and meet with someone from New York. So it's like I got a call back.
Wow.
This was like before I even got to my house. And they were like, and forget whatever that agent lady, just we're going to contact you directly. So I was like, oh shit. So then I went home. I did all this research with my sister on the internet, like looking up, so I was like, I'm coming in hot.
Intrawebs.
Yeah. Like, we had to dial up.
Right.
Date myself, but so we did a bunch of research on artists so that I was
Nice.
able to go in, and they were like, okay, well, the next step would be coming to New York and doing it in the studio.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then this just goes to show you how little control you have. The president of MTV like abruptly quit, and whatever was in the
Stop it,
works, but it was enough for me to be like, damn, like I don't even have headshots. It was like my first audition
You
ever.
were so close.
So I was
crazy.
like, I'm going to Hollywood.
Yeah.
So I got on the 101 and then I got a waitressing job
Okay.
and just kind of started getting into the world. But it still took a couple years
Yeah.
because you're still young, you're still figuring yourself out. Like, I'm like partying with all these people, which that's like another. There goes the popularity again, right?
Definitely.
Comes back,
I'm
creeps
not-
back in.
I'm not
Gotta
focusing.
get your weight up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then eventually I got into a class. I had my own apartment, and then I was able to make all of that happen. And then I was able to get representation. And then just, that's how it went. And you just, obviously at the time you could not tell someone that you didn't have a car.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't tell my age. I was just like, yeah, sure, I'll be there. You just say yes.
They just want to know.
Right,
They just want to know if you can be there.
Don't lie about knowing how to ride a horse.
Right.
You're not going to figure that out when you get there.
Exactly.
But a car, you can, it's definitely one of the things that I tell people, like, don't let that hold you back. Because a lot of
Right.
people are like, when I get this, when I get that. And I'm like, but just do it.
You just gotta
Yeah,
do it.
just do it.
Gotta keep going.
Yeah. Like the year that I lived in New York, I would talk to a lot of people, if I was very lonely there. I didn't have any friends. So, I would go to places a lot, and I worked in the service industry. So like for me, like when I walk into a restaurant, I'm like, I'm going to make the staff my friend. Let's get hooked up and they're going to be my friends.
Right.
So I get to shooting the shit with the bartender or servers or whatever. Like whenever I tell people I was from LA, they're like, oh, I want to move there so bad, but I got to save up money to have a car. And I'm like, no, you don't.
Right.
You really don't. If you want. I did also work with this guy who we were talking about class one day at work, and he's like, yeah, but I can't afford class. And he's like, oh, it's because you don't have a car. You don't have to pay for a car. And he was like, see, but like I need air conditioning. I can't not have air conditioning. So,
Yeah.
you know, whatever you want or whatever you feel
Your
like
wants
you
and
can't live
needs.
with, then you can't.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, you can't afford class because you need air conditioning.
Yeah.
You're making that your priority.
Your priority.
That's insane.
So then, you know, that's what you will get. And I will say, like, once you've done this for 10 years, you meet a lot of people, and then you go back to like your classes and your work and all that, and then there's still people that are working, and you've seen their careers like move, and then people that still have AC, you know, but they're not working.
They're in the same place. Exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's really like the only difference, I think, besides like nepotism and all that.
Right.
For like us, the regular people.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, what do you want and how bad do you want it?
How bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because obviously it's a very weird thing to tell people in LA you don't have a car. People
Right.
are like, what's wrong with you? Do you have a license?
Are you poor?
Yeah.
Do you have a life?
Do you have a license? Did you like kill somebody in a car? Like you can't drive? Like it's types of assumptions of why
Right.
you don't have a car.
Right.
That's weird.
Wow.
Wow. So what was like your first gig?
Yeah.
My very first
You almost had MTV. So
Almost. Yeah.
I got close on it.
Wait, back to that though, really quickly. I like how you said you don't have control, right? Because during these auditions, you know, so many actors get in their heads, right? And they get in their heads and they're like, why not me? Or like, what is wrong? But there's no control because there's just so many things that go on
Yeah.
behind the scenes, you know, like as far as we talked with David Roundtree, how he said one of the producers said, oh, she has the same name as my wife. That's why we can't hire her. You know,
right.
I just really wanted you to talk more about that.
Well, I would say that it's all about perspective because, for example, actors, you know, you test or you get put on a veil or pinned. So, you know, you're in one of the top contenders, let's say, right?
Yeah.
So I have actor friends that are like, oh my God, I just keep being on a veil. I just keep being on a veil and I don't book it. And it's like, well, that's where you have to be, first of all. You have to be getting a bunch of avails for one of them to
one to
stick
hit,
and become a booking.
Right.
So, like, you're where you need to be. But if you look at it as like, oh, I keep getting close, but like it just doesn't happen, as opposed to like, oh my God, look at how close I am. I'm right here.
Right.
So I think that is just like making that shift is big. And not that it's easy, because for many years you don't know what's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like now we have so much information on Instagram and TikTok about the business.
Right.
But for a long time, all of these things have been closed off to people, and you don't know until you're doing the thing.
Exactly.
And finding out and like falling on your face and realizing, oh man, I went into like a downward spiral for 2 months over something that like it wasn't necessarily a negative reflection on me or my talent.
Yeah. It had nothing to do with you. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
My first gig.
Back to the gate.
First gig was I booked a Bank of America commercial.
Nice.
That was my first gig.
Did you have a speaking role or?
I had a speaking role.
Oh, nice.
In English, Spanish.
It was in Spanish.
nice.
And
I need to learn Spanish.
I know. Me too.
See, I'm gonna be one of those guys. See, I'm not gonna go on auditions till I learn Spanish.
Download Duolingo.
well, you know, get immersed in I think another thing too is like when you can't necessarily be doing the thing,
Right.
You can also immerse yourself in the world.
Right.
Like sometimes, you know, when I didn't have money for class, I'd be like looking for all these like panels to watch, like the casting director talks, like the Hollywood Reporter does round tables, like those things, like start hearing the language of the business.
Right.
So that you already kind of have some information when you do, you know, get up to finally bat, right?
Dope.
I like that.
Yeah, and then that commercial, and this is another thing that I tell people, you can self-submit A lot of people don't do that. I got some pictures done. I got an LA casting. I threw them up there, and I booked that commercial in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Of self-submitting myself.
Did you have classes?
No agent, nothing. I had taken Killian's workshop.
Oh, okay. So you were familiar with the commercial and everything. Okay.
Yes, that's another game changer.
Killian's
Why are
workshop
you
is
going to
great.
waste 1 year, 2 years of going out on auditions and not knowing, having no technique at all?
Right.
You know, that doesn't serve you, I feel like. And I know that it is costly to take a $400, $500 class, but then think about your time. Like, think about how much your time, like if you equate it to money, how much that's worth.
Yeah, you compress that time.
Yeah. One thing that Kaz said to me once was like on the topic of headshots and trying to save money. It's like, you're trying to save $500, but you're really wasting $500 by not spending the $1,000 because the $500 headshots,
The quality.
might not get you. You might get very lucky. I'm not saying you can't. You know, maybe you have a homie that charges 1,000, but he'll charge you 500. That's a different story. But but like in trying to save, you're wasting.
Right. Because you're eventually gonna have to spend that 1,000 anyway.
Yeah, and one thing that my agent once told me, because that was one part where we butted heads like in the first few years that we were together, because I was on a budget. So I was like trying to do the most to save.
Right.
And then when I finally was like, all right, I'm going to go with someone that you tell me to go with. She was like, Cyndi, you deserve good headshots.
Right.
And I was like, wow.
Who did your headshots?
Never thought about that.
Right.
Caitlin Fisher
Okay.
are the ones I'm using right now.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh man.
Yeah.
Like treat yourself isn't always like, go treat yourself to a massage.
Right.
It's like treat yourself to like a nice suit, or
Invest.
nice materials.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need to invest.
You are worth it.
Right.
If you don't believe that you're worth $1,000, then
Nobody else
yeah.
will.
it's going to
Nobody
be
else
hard
will.
for someone else to just see you in that light.
Exactly. Yeah.
E40 says it best. He said, if I look like I ain't got no money, nobody gonna want to give me none.
Right.
Yeah, like there's
Same.
certain things. Look, Lynn, and I get it. There's people that have money and they dress all down. Well, because they got the money already.
Right.
You can't be going, even if your pajamas are expensive pajamas. You can't be going somewhere looking not professional, like
Right.
not up to par
Right.
of where you're supposed to be at. Yeah.
Okay.
Agree.
So, your first big one was This Is Us or SVU?
This Is Us.
This Is Us. Okay.
Yeah.
And then SVU.
I booked SVU once I was in New York. And that,
How did you get to? Let's talk about that. How did you get to New York? What you was following some Debbie? Wasn't
Give us the scoop. Oh my God. I can't believe you said that.
Because Cass said she was gonna do it too, and y'all too. So
it's so funny. Did she bring up that I was there when she talked
No.
about that? Well, that's so funny because at the time I had just met Kaz. Maybe I had known her for a year, and
Okay.
I worked with her a lot while I was still in LA. So this was like in the very beginning of my theatrical, like going out theatrically, because I worked in commercials for maybe about like 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Before I made the plunge into theatrical, and I had met her, so I was doing all of my. If I had an audition, I would go and I would coach with her. If I had a tape, I would shoot it with her. Because it was like the very beginning, and I'm like, I'm like a psycho, so I'm like, I want to, which it proved to be good, because then when I went to the East Coast, because I was following a man, I had that training of working with her.
Right.
And then my agents were like, okay, well, we don't really know what's going to happen. I was just going for a couple of months. I was just going for the summer. And, but then, my agents were like, we don't really know how things will work. We don't really have very many connections in New York. We'll still send you out for LA stuff so you
Right.
can tape for that.
Okay.
And then, do New York in person. So I was like, okay. And things started to go pretty well. Like I was doing well with self-tapes like LA stuff. I was getting callbacks, and then I was getting into like really good offices in New York.
Sweet.
And I would say like my advice on New York is it's I think a great place to do theatrical. There's not that people are not talented.
Right.
There's just less competition because there's not as many actors.
Really, I would think there's so many actors.
You
in New
could
York.
go a whole day in New York without running into an actor.
No
Really?
way.
Like try to do that here.
Are you
Really?
serious?
Yes. People are not. That's not what people are doing. Or people are stage actors. They're not going out for TV and film. So
Oh.
it's really easy to get into places. So career-wise, the East Coast was good for me.
Yeah.
But the relationship did not work out. So I had to come back.
Yeah.
But at the time, Kaz was dating someone that lived there also, and they were doing like the back and forth,
Yeah.
which I just don't think I could ever do like long distance.
Yeah.
So I ended up staying a year because, like I said, career-wise things were going good. But I was working with a mindset coach at the time, and I was like trying to figure out what was the best option for me. Oh, because in New York, these are the things. And he's like, well, where do you want to live? You really just need to base it on that.
Right.
Right.
And like, the person I was dating, it was not enough, like just that person.
Right.
Like I need friends, I need a social life.
Yeah.
And I also was not living in New York. I was living in New Jersey.
Right.
And, I'm a bus girl, but damn, but good. Oh my God. Like New Jersey Transit, it took me a couple of years to like release that energy
Right.
that I had for New Jersey Transit. Oh my God. It was, it was crazy.
I've heard stories about New Jersey.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
people
It's an
Go to
interesting
New York.
place.
Don't go to New Jersey.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting place. And then, I not to get like racial or anything, but
racial, it's
but
okay.
I'm about to get racial. At the time I told the person I was dating, I was like, I'm just used to very different white people. Like the white people from where I'm from. They wear Patagonia and they recycle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
And I was like, I've just never met like real like roughneck white people.
Right.
I've just never. I
Right.
had it.
Right.
It was
You're like, they wear Patagonia.
I was like, it was just
And they're recycled.
cultural shock.
Right.
Right.
And then also too, like that side of the country is a little more, because it's old.
You're
Like,
right.
There was a place in New Jersey called Fort Lee, and I was like, oh, like Fort Lee, like Lee,
Right.
like the general guy.
Really, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a culture shock, and
Yeah.
like it's about what kind of life you want to live,
Right.
Right.
and I think also too, as you get older and the more that you're in your career, you will also be like, you know what, this no longer serves me. It might not. It doesn't mean that you're not passionate or whatever, but you've done it for long enough, and you'd be like, you know what, this doesn't necessarily like float my boat. I know some people that don't go out commercially. They're like, I don't like commercials. That's not my focus. Or they do go out commercially, but they're like, I would drop a commercial in a hot second to go do a TV show or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Me, I'm like, no. I want that money.
Right.
Get that
Yeah.
check. Gotta get that check.
During the pandemic, because you couldn't like go from set to set, like I lost out on doing a commercial
Right.
because I was doing a TV show.
Right.
And I was pissed. It's like a whole other thing that you realize that that's like once you have more opportunities, you're gonna lose out on opportunities.
Right.
And it's what you asked for.
Right.
So you can't be too mad,
Upset.
right?
And so when you were in New York, it didn't work out with your boyfriend. Did you stay for a little while longer, or
No, hell no.
was it like
She's like, I'm out of
you
here.
broke up and then you left?
No, I went from like May to May, literally.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw all the seasons. I saw everything there was.
That
to
is
see,
nice.
And that was it for you.
And I was like, that's it.
Why do you think? Because you said earlier like you didn't really make friends in New York. Why do you think like you never really had like made friends within that year?
I met a few friends, but the having to travel from New Jersey to New York.
Right.
Oh,
like,
okay.
you gotta
okay,
be in New York.
You gotta be in New York.
You gotta be in New York to be in New York.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
and yeah. It just doesn't like.
It ain't the same.
Yeah.
That's-
And I think to be in New York, you either like for me, I'm like you either have to be young or rich. Like, geez, because
Yeah.
life is so hard there.
Really?
Like, to do it as a choice, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you didn't grow up there, your whole family's not there or whatever. Like,
Right.
I think it's way more people from New York that move to LA and stay than LA people that
Move to New York.
Yeah.
stay.
Got it.
It's like harsh. you know?
Right.
When I try to explain to people, I'm like, even like you want to buy a piece of gum, like it becomes so complicated. Okay? Like you're walking down to the bodega and then
Yeah.
something is going on and impedes you from going. Now you got to go across the street over there. And then,
Yeah.
like, you know, something's going on at the bodega and like, you know, like,
Yeah.
so it's a lot.
Interesting.
But when you have a good day there, like when you win, like when you
Right.
book Law and
Yeah,
Order
yeah.
SVU,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like the most incredible feeling.
Yeah.
Really?
It's like it you really earned it there.
Right.
So I could see why they feel the way that they feel
Yeah.
about New York. But I'm like, okay, but I don't need to get like beat up every day. You know?
You're not gonna get beat
Poor
up
Cindy.
No, but beat up like, you know,
Well, yeah.
like
Just
emotion-
taking a toll on you.
emotionally,
Yeah.
yeah. Because you know, the second you celebrate a win, you get on like the wrong train car and now
Right.
you're going, you know, somewhere else and you gotta so you can't be happy for too long there.
Yeah.
right,
You just
right.
got to stay grounded, right? And just know that you're going to have some, moments where you're not going to get it and you're going to have some slow months, and it just works like that's
Yeah.
life.
I mean, look, like right now I haven't booked anything in a year.
Really? Why do you think that? Is it because of like life happening with your, family and then the house and then the, stuff
I don't know.
like that,
I think like I mean, I've had periods like this before. Luckily, I worked a lot before it. So, because you're always working that way, right?
Yeah.
Even in like, it's interesting how sometimes it's like you'll have like the best year financially,
Right.
but not the best booking year. So like the finance comes from the booking that you had a year or two
previously.
ago.
Yeah.
But then this year you're not, I don't know. I mean, I was not auditioning as much and that I think will be changing. So yeah, it's just a numbers game.
What made you take a step back? Was it your marriage or? I mean, because I know we
was a
still kind
personal-
of getting out of COVID. Really, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, there was a personal reason. It was a personal choice that I made to not do something that was required by a lot of sets. I'll put
I
it,
know.
I'll put it that I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
So
Wait, we can't say it, or am I just like supposed to know when you make that face at me?
You were supposed to know.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
You're supposed to
afterwards.
catch on.
yeah,
talk about
Come
that.
on, get with the program.
basically, and to the power of saying no, right?
Okay,
So, and actually, Audrey Helps Actors has a thing on this. I'm going to look for it. I'm going to send
Okay.
it to you. And sometimes when you say no, it doesn't mean that you won't work. You know what I mean?
Right,
Maybe
right.
you won't work as much, but the quality of what you do is better than if you had said yes to everything. So I think like she started saying no to something. I forget what it was.
Yeah.
That she was just like, you know what, I'm just, or, sometimes maybe you get an offer to be on a show, but you want to stick it out for a bigger role. Something like that. I think that was her thing. So I made a personal choice where I basically said, I'm not going to do that particular thing that is required to be able to get the most auditions. So I was like, any audition that requires that, I must decline. But it's interesting because then in the last 2 years, I've made like the most money I've ever made in this career, right? So it's like, oh, like that's so interesting, when you start to choose what you want personally,
right.
instead of like, well, what do they want? Well, I'll be available. I won't go on trips. I'll
right.
be here.
It's what you think is best for yourself first.
Yes, yes. And then, with getting married and just my life changing, it's like, well, I have to put other things
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
When you're in your 20s or early 30s, and let's say you're not in a relationship, you don't have a lot of responsibilities.
Right.
You have time to be going to all the classes, to even like networking events. I'm a big networker. And when I was transitioning out of like living La Vida Loca, like partying, I was like, okay, well, how about if I'm a little more intentional with the things that I go out for?
Right.
Maybe instead of going to a nightclub with my friends, maybe I'll go watch one of my friends' comedy shows. I could have a couple cocktails, support my friend, and call it an early night.
More productive.
Still get out. It's more productive.
Yeah. Right.
But now, I went to 2 comedy shows last month. I almost like died because I'm like, it doesn't fit into my lifestyle anymore to say yes to every show.
Right, right.
And I have friends that are all kinds of performers. So
Right,
if
right.
you're saying yes to everything, you're out every night still, you
Yeah.
know? So now I'm like, oh, I have to set that boundary with myself. I can only go to 1 comedy show a month. Maybe like 1, and then I'm like, oh, then I have to maybe do another, like a women's thing or something like that.
Right,
But it's
right.
like now everything has to be scheduled and I have to fit those things
Yeah.
in.
Interesting. Interesting. So what happened in your life that made you, bring about that change to where you started like putting kind of like restrictions on things? Was it just getting married, or was it
Different priorities.
I think it had
having an epiphany or
I
something?
think it had started when I started doing a lot of like self work on myself. I read The Power of Now, and that book changed my life.
The Power of Now. I think, did you post it on Instagram? I think I screenshotted it.
Recently?
Yeah.
'Cause
Or
I've
maybe
al-
not recently.
I mean, I always go back to it, but that
Yeah.
book really changed my life in understanding that like the voice in my head isn't always my true self. So I had never made a distinction between the ego and my soul. And I realized, oh, I'm doing a lot of things from my ego, not from my soul. So I need to start becoming more intentional and thinking about why I'm doing something and if that's really what I want to be doing or what I think I should be doing or what other people are telling me. So I think that helped because then I started setting intentions
I need that book.
and being more intentional helped me.
Right.
I would say. And I think that even sometimes I like to take a lot of technical classes for acting, like on camera stuff and things of that nature. But I think that what helps me the most with like the actual performance and acting part is like working on myself and self-regulating my emotions. And like that all started from that point. So again, for me, it helps me to work on myself. It shows in other areas.
Right, right,
If I start from there, I think it's if I'm not dealing with what's going on in my head
right,
or in my body, even then it shows up in other areas also.
right. Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
What so how can I have a question in my head, but I'm trying to word it the right way. So like, what is like acting? Is it going to serve a different purpose now? Are there only like key things that you want to do with your acting, or
Yeah,
like,
for
how does that
sure.
work?
Like before, I would be like, I mean, pardon my French, but I'd be like, yeah, I'll show my titties or whatever.
right.
I'm trying to speak
Back in the day, that was your goal.
as 24, 25-year-old
Yeah.
me, right? Like,
get it.
or like I'll do anything. Sure. Oh, for the project, for the film,
Right,
like
right.
if it's the right project, I'll show my titties,
my tatas.
my tatas, but just speaking to nudity
Right,
in general
right.
and what kind of material, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, who are you to say I won't do this, I won't do that? You haven't
Yeah.
done anything.
Right.
But now that, even I realized that when I was dating my husband, that I was like, oh, I've never thought about that because maybe I've never been like in love with someone like this that I don't want to kiss another man.
Right.
I don't want to do, I don't
Right.
want to. I wouldn't
Right.
feel comfortable. Not for my husband, but because it doesn't sit right with me.
Resonate with you.
Right.
I also probably wouldn't take on a job where I had to move to Canada for 6 months. Realistically,
Right,
I'm like, I'll go to Atlanta, I'll go to New York, couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That would be it. And, I'm fine to work. And if that means like I'm in co-star, guest star world, then for the rest of my life,
so
then
be it.
so be it. Yeah.
So you're okay with that.
yeah.
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 Now, have you done any feature films?
I did one feature film, which was actually, now that you mention it, I totally forgot it. That was actually my first, that was my first theatrical booking.
Okay.
Was the film. It was my first and last feature film.
Okay.
It was, I didn't know, like, first of all, I didn't know that you could pass on projects.
They say yes,
Well,
I say
Cindy,
yes.
Yes.
Yes. Number one, I didn't know you could pass on projects, but I get this role to be in this movie called Diggers.
I saw that. The
Diggers.
Diggers.
It's on Amazon. And the role was for a Latina who was Guatemalan, and I'm Guatemalan. So I was like, oh, meant to be. Like, it's for me. Oh, it's a Guatemalan person. I get to be a Guatemalan person in a movie. So I'm all excited. And then I go to I book the role. I go to breakfast with the star of the movie and the director, writer, cameraman, you know,
Wow.
who's doing all of the things.
Yeah.
So I was like, so the character, like, what inspired that? You know, she's Guatemalan, I'm Guatemalan, just curious. And he's like, oh, my housekeeper's Guatemalan.
Wow. Okay.
So, you know, see how things change.
Oh my God. I would have
yeah.
loved to be a fly on the wall that day.
I was like, oh, okay, not what I was picturing. But, you know, let's move on.
Yeah.
And then we go out and we shoot it in the desert, and it made me realize that I only like doing union things, because at that point I had only done commercials.
Okay,
Mostly union commercials.
Right.
So, you know, even if it's a little trailer, I'm used to having a little area.
Right.
Yeah.
We were in a car,
Okay.
you know, and then like it was out in the desert, like at night, like in a desert town.
And it was just you three, or was it like?
There was a sound guy.
Okay.
There was like the main actor, him, and then the sound guy and me.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, we're by this like liquor store in like the Mojave Desert. It's not very safe, you know. There
Right.
was a lot of people.
Sketchy.
There was a lot of people suffering from drug addiction in the area. Yeah. You know, a lot of like scurrying around in the
Right.
darkness. And
Yeah.
I was just like, this is unsafe, you know? So
Yeah.
these things don't really happen on union jobs.
Right.
So I've never really been like a big indie film person myself. Like, I don't get submitted a lot for it, or maybe I do, but I just don't get those auditions. I'm like a procedural person,
Yeah.
like through and through, and TV and film, and that's really like where my interest is.
Right.
Right.
But then sometimes I do see some of my friends making movies, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't think you did little things like this." And not that I like do big major things,
Right,
but like.
right.
But I'm like, oh no, for the homie, yeah.
Right,
For the
right.
guy who named my character, who made my character Guatemalan because his you know, housekeeper's Guatemalan, not so
I'm
much.
surprised you didn't leave after he said that. Why didn't you leave?
I didn't
'cause
know I could.
She felt like she was just committed and she had to
Yeah,
stay.
I felt, yeah. And I mean, look, I guess great that it happened, because now I know. And it's funny, I don't know what conversation I was having with my agent like not long after that. And she goes, oh, well, you know, if it's just like some little like $150 a day film, like I don't give a shit if you deny it. I'm just saying, here, you got this audition.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I wish I would have known that two months ago.
Yeah.
That I could say no to that. But then on the other hand, I had an audition for Training Day, the TV show. It had just like
nice.
they were just working on the pilot, I think.
Okay.
And I had an audition, and I was, even then, when I wasn't with my husband yet, I was like, okay, this scene is too much. Like, this is too sexual.
Yeah.
It's just like paints Latinas in a terrible light.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do this, you know? So I was like, I'm going to pass. She calls me right away. She's like, why are you passing? And I was like, well, like this, look at the, I'm like, it's a man who's like in his 40s, and this girl's like barely 20.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a blunt involved and like a little like Monica Lewinsky situation. So I was like,
I mean, that doesn't actually happen though, right?
I don't know what actually happened or when in, or what, like how they shot the thing.
Right.
I'm just going based off the
Yeah.
sounds. Oh, but yes, in the room. No, of course not.
Right.
So my agent was like, look, you've never been seen by this office, and this is a big casting office.
Oh, wow.
So why don't you there's no job. Why don't you get the job and then say that you don't want the job?
Right.
But you don't have a job. Right now you just have an appointment to go meet these people
Right.
and for them to bring you in and get to know you.
Okay, I like the way she put it, because now I'm learning something.
And I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. And I did it. I did the scene with two women. You know, no, it was normal, you know,
Right.
like nothing happened. So,
Right.
yeah, exactly.
Is this your agent, Betsy?
You're talking about Stacy.
Stacy.
Beth Stein.
Beth Stein.
Beth Stein Agency.
That's her name.
Which doesn't exist anymore, and she's not an agent
Yeah.
anymore. She
Yeah.
retired. But yeah, I learned tons of stuff from her.
Yeah.
She's great. And, this is another person that like gives, so now she became, sort of like an Instagram person. And I always tell people when they're like, oh, I want to get into acting. Oh, I want to do commercials. I'm like, you got to follow this woman.
And subscribe.
She's got like so much info. When you read all of the information that's on there, then you'll be ready to go to the next level. Almost no one does it. Almost no one does it.
Yeah.
And then that same person will ask me a year from now, hey, I really want to get into,
Right.
So, but I think like that's with anything, if you want to be a plumber, you can't keep talking about that you want to be a plumber.
Right. Gotta
Look
get to a plunger.
Yeah. Yeah. You start with a plunger.
Start with a plunger.
See how it feels in your hand.
Exactly.
Do you
Right.
like the weight of it?
Right.
You got to start like trying and start messing around. Figure out if you really like it.
Indeed. So, you're not showing your tatas no more.
I never did.
You never did, right?
I never did.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't have to. Yeah.
Like, no, never.
Yeah.
So what type of roles are you seeking for yourself? Like, is it shows? Is it like films? Like where?
Definitely episodic
character?
television. The last time that I had this conversation was when I brought on new managers, and I'd like to do more comedy. I go out for a lot of procedural stuff. So like, your NCISs, Hawaii Five-0, Law and Order. That's already like my jam. I'm already in that world.
Right.
So yeah, I would like to pivot to comedy.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. And even like with that, like when you want to pivot, I had the opportunity because I brought on these new people that I was like, I went into the meeting knowing like what I expected from them. So I think we've had this conversation because you're looking for representation. Like you have to come in with your ideas. I get it when it's your first agent. Sure. Like you don't really know. But like it was an opportunity for me to be like, hey, you know what? I don't go out a lot for this, and I do want that.
Yeah.
I'm currently in Leslie Kahn's Comedy Intensive, so that's what I'm doing. Here are some tapes where I did go out. Maybe I did get a comedy audition, so like just so you can see, and like that's sort of what I expect from my rep.
Okay.
Like moving, forward.
Is there like a show in particular that you
Would like
want
to
to be a
on
part
yours.
of?
That was my next question, right?
So much,
You beat me to
so
it.
much content. I
Yeah.
mean, I would really like to be on This Fool. I think that it would be amazing.
I haven't watched it.
Wait,
yet.
hold
Is it
on.
good?
Oh, we have a friend that's This Fool is right on Hulu.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what's his name? That's coming in soon. Who's the actor?
You know.
Yes. Oh my God. Jamar Neighbors.
Oh, he's the one that plays the baker.
yes.
Okay, so I'm friends with Frankie, who's the star.
What a trip.
And I met the
small world.
writer, Chris Estrada, through
Yeah.
Frankie because they're comic buddies.
Okay.
And
Wow.
I auditioned for the first season, but I
Okay.
didn't audition for the season that they're shooting right now.
Nice.
But yeah, I would love to be on that because just how cool would it be to be on
Yeah.
your friend's show?
Right.
And then what else? I mean, like maybe something like Abbott Elementary.
Have you seen Shrinking?
I love Abbott.
Have you seen Shrinking?
No. Oh, that's with the guy. I know who you're talking
Yes.
about. Yeah,
Yes. On Apple TV.
Yes.
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 So good.
I just watched Winning Time. Is it Winning Time?
Winning time.
Winning Time? The one, it's about the Lakers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Showtime? No.
It's
on
not Showtime.
HBO.
Yes.
I
I
think
think it's
HBO Max.
Yeah.
Winning Time.
Yeah.
Man, that show is incredible.
Yeah, it's
really good.
I would love to be
Yeah.
on something like that, like
Yeah.
a period piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily comedy, but it's funny.
It is. It is.
I mean, John
like
C.
a, like
Reilly's
a
awesome.
dramedy.
Exactly.
Yes, a dramedy. Exactly. That is sort of
Dramedy.
my personality, is dramedy.
Dramedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like who I am as a person.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you give your husband a lot of drama.
I mean, yeah, he'd probably agree with that.
He'd probably agree with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all good.
Yeah.
Good. How long have you been married?
I got married June of 2021.
Yes.
Oh, it was right in the thick of COVID.
It
Yeah.
went by so
Oh,
fast.
did y'all kiss or did y'all have masks on? And,
We had a COVID wedding and it was like the county was about to drop the mask mandate like in within a couple of days.
Okay.
I think it was like the 15th, and then our wedding was the 13th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So nobody had a mask on. I mean, there was people that did have masks on,
Yeah.
maybe in the beginning, but then as
Right.
things progress, like no one had a mask on.
That's cool.
And I actually had a fitting for a commercial the next day. So I was like, man, I really hope I didn't get COVID at my wedding. And I didn't even tell people that I got married because I didn't want anyone to make that
Assumption.
association
Right.
or anything, right?
Yeah.
So like the last day of the shoot, the next or like the following, it was like a Saturday, and then that Monday I was going to leave on my honeymoon. So I was telling everybody that like I was like going on my honeymoon and stuff like that, and they're like, "So when did you get married?" And I was like, almost when we were gonna wrap, I was like, "Last week."
Oh, wow.
And then I was like, "Oh, like literally, like you just got married."
Yes.
And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Small wedding?" I was like, "Yeah, it was small."
It was just us two.
I didn't give like a specific number,
pastor.
but we did have 75 people.
Oh, yeah. a lot of
Luckily,
people.
no one did get COVID.
Right.
But then Delta, I think, started like a month later. So like, had we not done it then,
Right.
All right. It would've
and
been
now it's
terrible.
like super expensive to get married. It's
Yeah.
30% more expensive to get married now.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
I
because
didn't know that.
It was already expensive.
I know.
Like maybe it's gone down, like, but the last time I read, which was last year, because people were still trying to catch up from all the cancellations, and then what is it like? What does Fat Joe say? Like yesterday's price is not today's price.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I thought about it of maybe postponing. I was like, it's too much.
Yeah.
We're moving, like we're doing all these things, we're getting married, like
Right.
it's just causing a lot of stress. And my husband's dad was like, no, like just keep pushing forward,
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
And luckily we did.
Right.
So it worked out.
Nice.
And we're still married.
Good.
How does he feel about you, continuing your path as an actor and stuff? How does he, his input?
My husband's not in the industry at all. And he actually acted with me during during we're having some
And you ate all the
technical
pretzels.
difficulties.
Okay, go ahead.
So he did act with me during the pandemic, when we did like real couple auditions and we were doing stuff from home. So
Yeah.
he got to kind of see what it is that I do.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah.
I got this,
Yeah.
But then, he thinks what I do he's like, okay, like, that's what you do.
He
Like,
supports it.
yeah, he's supportive. His, he had to quit his acting career because he's like, I have a real job. I can't because we were like started getting callbacks and like, I mean, he really is a natural. My husband's a salesperson, so kind of goes hand
That's
in
how I
hand.
feel about Andre. He's a natural.
Yeah, and like commercials, that's what it is. There's a product, and what are we selling here? What's the essence? What's
Right.
the tone? But I remember we got an audition once, and he was like, well, "What is this for?" And I was like, whatever it was for. And he was like, "Well, what is it like? Is it?" And I was like, "Well, it's internet only." And he's like, "Oh, internet only." And I was like, "Oh my god!"
He's already bougie.
Yeah.
Already bougie. And then he had to quit because my agent would be like, "Hey, can you guys have a callback? In like 3 hours?"
Yeah.
And my husband's like at work, and
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, babe, this commercial is like, you make thousands of dollars
Yeah.
on it." And he's like, "Yeah, but like I'm running a company, and like you're talking about potential like money,
Right.
So I can't
Yeah.
cancel my meeting to do the thing." So he had to retire
Yeah.
from the
He
acting.
retired very early
Yeah.
in the game.
Yeah.
So did you guys actually do something together? Like,
We got close on an AT&T spot that we would have shot from home.
Oh, that would have been cool.
So it was like, the AT&T girl
Yes.
or woman.
Yeah.
It would have been her giving us, talking to us about our internet.
Yeah.
It's like basically I was giving my husband a haircut at home, and I, because the internet was buffering, I messed up his hair. Like that was like the whole premise of it. We got close on it on that, and he got to see what I do, and it takes us a little while, In the beginning, when we were first married, my husband would be like, well, how did that go? Well, did you get an audition for this? What happened with this audition?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think about those things anymore. Once I do it, it's like done to me,
Right.
got Yeah, I can get a call back.
Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
have no connection. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Or even when I go to a callback, and now he knows my saying of like, if it's me, they'll call me.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
That's all I can.
Yeah,
do.
exactly.
I don't know. I have no idea. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I did great.
Yeah.
Me and the guy, the camera guy shooting the shit. It
Yeah.
went fantastic. It
Yeah.
felt amazing, and nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
So you can't even. Who knows? I might look like the director's wife or something.
Exactly. You
or
just never know. You
director's
never
Yeah,
know.
I think like the best way to the all you really get is like if people just still keep calling you in, like
Yeah.
people fuck with you,
Right,
basically. Oh,
right.
are we allowed to cuss?
Yeah, of course. Just be yourself.
But
cuss.
you know what I'm saying? Like
can curse.
people like they dig you.
Right.
Yeah.
I haven't booked you on something, but I've been going to Allison Horn. I've had some like avails with them, but like I've been going to this office for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
And I've never booked a job with them.
Really?
But at least you got some avails with them.
I've had some avails.
I mean, that's good.
And they continue to call me in. But
Yeah.
for 10 years, I have not booked a commercial with them.
Now, let me ask, how do avails work? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Exactly?
An avail is like they're checking your availability. Like they're like, okay, you're basically one of like let's say like top 3, top 5, whatever it is.
Okay.
These are like the solid dates that we have.
Okay.
And they like put you on hold,
Like,
right?
can you say that you can commit to those dates? And if something else comes up, let us know. So then basically it's just like, hey, you're in the top
You're in the
running.
running.
Yeah. And look, you're always gonna say yes.
Right.
I always say yes and I never get it.
Well, look, my husband, one thing I will say about my husband and how he feels about my career. So when we were doing all of this, like moving and planning the wedding during COVID,
Right.
I was like, I'm going to book out for a month because this is too crazy. We had to move from a condo to an apartment for 6 weeks and then into the house that we live in now
Yeah.
and planning the wedding and COVID. So I got put on a veil for a Subaru commercial. And my husband was, because I booked out, but Stacy, my agent, this woman does not stop.
She doesn't
working.
listen?
She was working.
She's like, come on, like you could do it, like
Right,
just do
right.
it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. So I get put on a veil, and my husband is like, he's like, Cyndi, are you serious? Like the dates were like almost like touching my wedding day, and he's like, you can't, And I was just like, let's just see. We don't
Yeah.
know what's gonna happen. We don't even know if we're gonna book it. Let's
Yeah.
not get in a fight about it right
Yeah.
now. So I booked the commercial, of course.
You booked it.
I book it, and then the fitting was the day after my wedding.
Oh, wow.
My God. So like I was very hungover. So was
Yeah.
my husband. We're like, we get up, we're like trying to get like the hotel room. The hotel room looks like crap because we had
Yeah.
people over after
Yeah.
the wedding. We got married in a restaurant, so we just stayed across the street.
Yeah.
So then we gotta get to Santa Monica. I gotta like not look like I'm hammered. And then my husband's like in the car waiting for me. You never know how long a fitting is gonna be.
Right.
So 2 hours it took.
Why did it take so long? What goes on in the fitting?
I don't remember if maybe this one because it was COVID, like the client wasn't present. So they're basically like putting you in stuff, trying it, taking a picture, sending it to the client, and then getting feedback from the client.
Got it.
So when they're not in the room, there's kind of a delay.
Got it.
They want to see what you look like in your outfits. So we got out of there, and then the following week I had to. But the thing about a job is that you could be missing out on like half of your year's pay if you don't do that one job.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, that was a really good commercial for me. It was both English and Spanish.
Nice.
I think and then because see, this is another thing that you can't control, right? So there was a shortage of microchips for cars.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah.
So they delayed on running the commercial. So for like a good 8 months, I didn't make any money except for the holding fee. They pay you every 3 months because you can't do another competitor's commercial. So it's kind of like you're not getting paid. They're not
crazy.
running it yet.
Yeah.
And sometimes they could just never run it.
Yeah.
They'll be like, we decided not to. But in the end, I think I made like $55,000 off that
Oh
commercial.
my gosh.
So you're talking about a decision that I would have made there,
Yeah.
let's say to not do it.
Right.
And, that's a good chunk of change
Yes,
right
it
there.
is.
But, and it didn't come the way that I thought. It's not like the commercial started airing right away. You never know. You can't count on that money, really. until, after. Want to save as much as possible.
So, do you have like any businesses that you run then? Because it's so.
So
What
I've
else do you
been
do?
I've been full-time acting since I got back from New York. Because that was another thing about being there. I had to work in New Jersey. I worked at a steakhouse. And I was like, I never want to go back to serving ever again after working at that place. Like, it at least gave me that resolve that I was
Right.
like, no, I'm not going back.
Yeah.
I've done my time. I've grinded, and I'm
Right.
going to figure out other ways. So I would do like event gig bartending. I like sat in like an art gallery in the front.
Yeah.
I was like trying to make ends meet until
Right.
I finally got commercials going again once I moved back to LA. And then now I'm pivoting towards voiceover work.
Okay.
Nice.
And I am going to be reading on We Audition. So We Audition is a platform for actors.
Yes.
You sign on and you can find somebody to read with you for your audition.
Wait, so now you're going to be a reader?
I'm going to be a reader, yeah.
Yay, we were just talking about that.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And with the voiceover, again, it's something that like in the beginning, you have to put a lot of energy into it.
Yeah.
I'm taking a workshop currently, and then I'm going to be shooting a demo and then looking for reps and then getting auditions.
Love that.
And hopefully bringing in some money and other aspects of the business. But as far as like another side job that's not acting related, I don't.
No. Okay.
I thought about bookkeeping during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what are we going to do? I'm like, maybe I can't be an actor. I just have to start thinking about other things. So I started looking into like accounting and bookkeeping. My husband was like, Cyndi, you're not going to do bookkeeping. It's not you. And then I told my agent, and my agent was like, look, she's like, do that if you want.
Yeah.
But like, just keep auditioning.
Yeah.
All right.
That's really good advice from your agent.
And then I met with this woman about like financial consulting because that's what she does. And I was like, well, yeah, but it made me look at my finances. Meeting with this woman because then at the end of the day I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be no bookkeeper.
Yeah.
Get out of here. But it did help me focus on my finances.
Right.
Yeah.
So, which was great.
Right.
So at the time I think you always keep your mind like, okay, like what else? What could I be doing? Maybe something's not working out for XYZ reason. You're not into it anymore, or there's like a world pandemic.
Right.
It can range.
Yeah.
And just always kind of thinking of like, well, what do I need to do for me? And then when I met with the financial planner, I was like, okay, I get it. You're telling me I need to have this much put away and this and that. And like, but how am I going to do that right now? Like, there's no money coming in.
Yeah.
And I swear, like, a month or two later, I like booked. Like, just like that.
Wow.
And I've been sort of like riding that wave of residuals ever since.
Wow.
And then I was
Cyndi.
able to do everything that the lady told me I needed to do.
Wow.
That's
So,
big.
but it's kind of crazy because sometimes you do think like, how can I get out of this hole how is that even
Right.
possible?
Yeah.
Right.
But at least like start exploring the options
Yeah.
and talking to people because people always want to be like, well, I don't have my things together.
Yeah.
I'll do it when I do. Like just start
Right.
asking questions.
Yeah.
And that's for anything, I think.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Wow.
Well, Cyndi, this has been insightful, delightful,
Yes.
an absolute honor to have you here.
Yes, it was.
Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to kind of measure up to the guy who had the story of living in Mexico. I was like, I want to be up there with one of those episodes.
You were up there, girl. You were up there.
Nah, you did.
I feel like we still have so much more to talk about with you, but I know like an hour has an hour or so,
Has it
more than an hour has gone by.
I have no
Oh,
idea.
damn, I've been holding
But I
all
just
up.
feel like I can pull so much more information from you because you just are so like.
Oh shit! It's been like an hour. and a
That's what
half.
I'm saying. Like she has so much more of a story to tell because just even with Instagram, like all how you go on Instagram and you do these I like your live,
when I've had with other people.
when you have with other people and
I was
stuff
doing
and
that
just
for
all
a
that
little
information
minute.
that you give. I just love that. That's how I learned a lot from you.
Oh, thank you.
And then even Maj was like, how do you know Cyndi? And I'm like, from Kaz. Like just by following Kaz, I got Cyndi and then I got even Jernus. And I'm just
Yeah.
that's how we're meeting people,
yeah.
And I learned a lot from you too. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, we may have to bring you back for a part 2.
We do.
Let's see what the fans say. You know,
see
they
what the
might
people
not
say.
they might not agree. You know.
Nah, they'll fuck with you.
Yes, they will. Even on a day where we just, we don't have anyone and you want to come and chit chat, you have something to get off your chest or whatever. We'll just have a
A
conversation.
little therapy.
Yeah.
Hey, people,
You're always welcome.
people use me as their therapist every day, so you're more than welcome.
I definitely use you as my therapist.
Yes, every day.
Well, there you go.
Every
That's a side hustle for you right there.
Yeah.
If people pay me
I'm
for
not
it, it'll
pay-
definitely be a side hustle.
Maybe one day when I'm rich, I'll pay you.
So
Okay.
somebody gonna have to cut a check soon. Guys, listen up. Beyond Hollywood International Film Festival is coming April 20th through the 22nd at the Regal LA Live. 3 days of networking, panels, screenings,
Cindy
and
will be there.
award shows. You coming through?
You want to hang out
Oh,
with a beautiful girl?
shit.
She will be a beautiful actress. She's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Hey, you gotta come through. We're gonna put you on the panel. We're gonna put you to work. You coming? We're gonna put you to work.
Okay.
You gotta talk to the people. You gotta talk to the
I
people.
have a car
She's
now.
gonna look.
Oh, she got a
nice.
car now, so she can come through. All right, cool. Have her getting off the what bus is over there? The 125.
I would pick you up before you got to take the bus to. to
I
the
might
park.
with these gas prices. I might take.
Man, for real talk. But no, we're gonna be at the Regal LA Live April 20th through the 22nd. You can get tickets right now. You can get passes and you can get movie tickets. The movie tickets are up. We are screening over 50 films, so pick your poison, man. It's a great lineup.
Yes.
Go to bhiff.org, click on tickets. It'll take you to their tickets page on Eventbrite, or you can just go to Eventbrite and type in Beyond Hollywood International Film Festival. It'll take you right there. Get your
Yes.
tickets and your passes right now. And by the time this airs, there will be a sale going on. So before April 6th, we're taking some percentages off. I'm not sure the exact percentage, but percentages are off. So get your tickets before April 6th. Get in on all the fun. We just locked down Leslie Small as our keynote speaker. He is the director for pretty much all of Kevin Hart's work. He did, I can't remember, the movie with Queen Latifah. Hair Shop, I think. Yeah. So Leslie Small is our keynote speaker. He will be there. Chandrella Avery from Napoleon Dynamite. She will be a special guest coming and talking to the people. And she's bringing a bunch of her friends. And so it should be a freaking party. So
Yeah.
you want to get your tickets right now. Go to bhiff.org. Click on tickets. It'll take you to our Eventbrite page. Thank you to Cyndi Melendez for coming through, sharing your
Yes.
story. I didn't even realize he was talking for her.
I know.
How are you guys?
Oh no,
I love it. It's
it's so good.
organic.
We definitely gonna have a part 2 with you. Veronica says you got more to say, so we definitely got to bring you back. So we got to bring you back for that sequel. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and yeah, man.
See
We
you next
love
week.
y'all, man. We will definitely see y'all next week.
Yeah.
This is Beyond Take 2 podcast brought to you by Beyond Hollywood International Film Festival. I'm your host, Madge.
And I'm your host, Veronica.
And this is episode 12 with the great Cyndi Melendez.
Yes.
And we are done for today. We will see y'all next week.
Woo!
Peace.
Beyond take 2, take a walk beyond Hollywood. Beyond the lights, camera, action. Is the hard work and passion. Beyond take 2, take a walk beyond Hollywood. Beyond the lights, camera, action. Is the hard